Hello, fourth graders. This is Mr. A, and we are looking on page 4 of our homework. We have 5/12 and 8/6 and 4/10 and 7/5, and we want to order them from the least to greatest. How can we do that? How can we order these fractions? Remember the strategies we have learned, okay? So the first one we can use is using benchmark, right? So using the benchmarks half and whole, okay? So let's look at these fractions. Let's start with a whole. Do we have any of these fractions that are over a whole? And the answer is yes, we have, if this fraction is made of 6 parts and we have 8/6, this is greater than a whole. So I'm going to write it here. And we have 7/5. 7/5 is also bigger than a whole, right? How about the benchmark half? Do we have any fractions that are bigger than a half? So let's look at 5/12. Half of 12 is 6. Okay, so this one is less than a half. Let's look at the 4/10. Half of 10 is 5/10. And so these two are less than a half, right? These two are less than a half. Okay, so let's see which one of these is bigger then. Okay, so let's look at these two denominators. So is 10 a factor of 12? Can we get 12 from 10? No. So let's do the easy thing. Let's just create a common denominator. Let's create a common denominator. So I'm going to take my 4/10 and multiply it by 12. And my 5/12, I'm going to multiply it by 10. Okay, so basically we're going to have a common denominator of 120. Okay, so we're going to have new fractions now. Both of them have 120. Okay, so let's start with the easy one. 5 times 10 is 50. Okay, 5 times 10 is 50. And let's see, 12 times 4. 12 times 4. Okay, so we can write it the same way we've been practicing in class. So 4 times 2, and then 4 times 10. Okay, so 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 10 is 40. So if we add them together, that is 48. Right? So which one is bigger, the 5/12 or the 4/10? 4/10 gives us 48 120th. 5/12 gives us 50 120th. So the 5/12 is bigger. Okay, so we just solved the first part. We just figure out that 4/10 is the smallest, then 5/12. Now let's go to our first group here, the 8/11, 8/6, and the 7/5. Okay, let's see which one is bigger. So we're going to create a common denominator. Okay, so we have 8/6 and 7/5. Let's ask ourselves, can 5 become a 6? And the answer is no. So in that case, let's create a common denominator. So we're going to multiply the 5 and the 7, the 5th and the 7 by 6 and 6. And the 6th, we're going to multiply it by a 5th and by 5. So we would have 30 as our common denominator. Okay? So we have 30 and 30. 6 times 7 is 42. 8 times 5 is 40. So which one is bigger? 8 6, which is 40 30th, or 7 5th, which is 42 30th? And the answer is 7 5th is bigger, right? So now we know in the end that 8 6 is smaller than 7 5th, and that's how we have ordered our fractions. Okay? So we have ordered our fractions first by using benchmarks, half, and whole, and seeing if there's one that is bigger than a whole or equal a whole, or one that's equal to a half or less than a half or greater than a half. Then after that, we created a common denominator between the fractions to compare which one is bigger than the other. Okay, so I hope this video is helpful, and try this problem again on your own and compare your way of answering it to the way I did, and let's see if you're understanding it, okay? Because that is the skill that we need to master in 4th grade. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing your work.